Welcome back to the Tennessee Conservatives Big 7 News Podcast. My name is Adelia Kirchner. I'm one of the writers here at the Tennessee Conservative, and today we're going to take a quick skim through some of our big news stories of the week. Things like former Tennessee House Speaker Glenn Cassada getting sentenced to federal prison, a Nashville-based tech giant potentially taking on oversight of TikTok's algorithm here in the U.S., and then a slightly more amusing situation in which a Missouri woman is being sentenced to prison because she tried to sell Graceland, Elvis Presley's former home. Yeah, the one that she does not have the ability to sell because she doesn't own it. Yeah. Anyways, all of that and more in today's Big 7. But before we get into it, make sure to subscribe to our free daily eNewsletter. Just text NEWS to 423-205-5600. That's NEWS to 423-205-5600. You can also follow us on the platforms where we are not shadow banned like we are on Facebook. You can follow us on X, Truth, Getter, Gab, Rumble, MeWe, and Parler. Alright, so our first story of the day is a less than encouraging one, but important nonetheless. We've got TBI reports 140% increase in child exploitation cases across the state of Tennessee. New data released by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, TBI, shows that exploitation of children in Tennessee has increased exponentially within the last 5 years. Right now, there are over 22,000 open cases of child exploitation across the state, according to TBI. That's a 140% increase since the year 2020. TBI emphasized how vital it is for parents to monitor their children's online activity and to share information about the crisis faced by the Tennessee Internet Crimes Against Children Unit, or I think they call it ICAC. But TBI Special Agent Robert Burkhart shared that in most cases the offender says they will send a nude photograph if the child sends one first. According to Burkhart, the offender typically asks for the face of the child to be in the photograph. Meanwhile, the offender will be collecting information from the child's friends list or followers list off Instagram or whatever social media platform is being utilized. Many times the offender will have the child switch over to another platform like Snapchat or Kik to chat so that they can get the child's list of friends or followers from that platform as well. Offenders in these situations are also encouraging children to kill themselves at an alarming rate. The ICAC program has 73 affiliated agencies across Tennessee. Back in 2017, ICAC was only getting around 30 cases per month of child exploitation, about 1 case per day. Currently, they are receiving over 100 cases a month of either child exploitation or a missing child. In order to better assist ICAC with the rising cases, TBI hopes to increase staff numbers and plans on lobbying legislation to strengthen penalties against offenders. And the press conference that the information for this article was from, there's a lot of, TBI gave parents a lot of information about how these social media platforms are being used and how children end up in these situations. And it's I feel like it's a universal problem anywhere that we've got access to these platforms. I'm a firm believer that we would all be better off if social media didn't exist, even if it means that I don't get to talk to you in this manner, even if it means that, I have to write my friends letters or send physical photographs, but like we have texting, we have calling. Do we really need all this social media? Because to me, the cons far outweigh the pros in most situations, and I'm 23, so I feel like it was people my age were kind of the first generation to grow up with the type of access that we now have to devices, to technology in general, to the internet, to social media, and it's incredibly different to raise children now than it was before. Even when my parents were raising me, it's totally different than them raising my youngest sibling, who is still only 10 years old. There's so much that you have to be aware of if your children are going to even have the slightest access to these platforms. And I think it's just too much. It's such a huge burden to put on parents. But if that is something that you allow in your household, it is extremely vital that you take every precaution, because, I mean, if you have anybody my age, or even, 18, 19 in your life, who's just now emerging into adulthood. I mean, I've had countless conversations with people my age and people younger than me. Even my 16, 17-year-old siblings at points have been like, my kids aren't having this. And there's a reason why even those of us who have had access to it and, have had experienced the benefits of it growing up, are pretty firm in the fact that we don't want to have to deal with it as parents, because we know what we've been exposed to, and some of the innocence that is lost in utilizing these platforms. And I feel like that's very much displayed with the amount of child exploitation cases that have to do with social media usage and the internet. Because these predators or these offenders, whether they're after the child pornography or whether they're after the money that they can exploit from these children by getting child pornography, either way, I mean, it's just disgusting. And there's already enough degeneracy in the human race, in the things that we go in our heads, oh, nobody's capable of doing that. I mean, people are capable of a lot of disgusting things, and I feel like the internet just breeds that. So it's I appreciate TBI trying to raise awareness, but at this point, I feel like it's fairly obvious that social media is a terrible place for children. Anyways, my rant is over on that one for now. Our next story is former Tennessee House Speaker sentenced to 3 years in federal prison. 6 years after being bounced from the Tennessee House speakership, former Representative Glenn Cassada was sentenced Tuesday to 36 months in prison for his role in a kickback scheme. U.S. District Judge Eli Richardson meted out the punishment to Cassada on 14 counts of fraud, bribery, theft, conspiracy, and money laundering in connection with a shell company called Phoenix Solutions, run by his former chief of staff, Kate Cawthron, who was sentenced to 30 months last week. Cassada also must pay a $30,000 fine and remain on probation for 1 year. For 1 year once he serves his time. Defense attorneys said they will appeal the case to a higher court. Federal prosecutors asked for a 5-year sentencing and $50,000 fine, pointing out that when FBI agents confronted Cassada, he lied about his involvement. Cassada and Cawthron were convicted of setting up the secret company that tapped into the state's postage and printing program that provides House members $3,000 a year for constituent mailers. Cassada and former Representative Robin Smith, who pleaded guilty and testified against the pair, steered lawmakers' business to Phoenix Solutions, which was secretly run by Cawthron with the front name of Matthew Phoenix. Cassada's legal team requested that federal judge Eli Richardson allow Cassada to remain free on bond while his case goes to appeal. Failing approval from Richardson, Cassada is slated to report to prison on November 21st. I feel like we've all been waiting a while for this, for the resolution of this case, and it's finally happening. I don't know how to feel about it, but it exists if you've been following it for the last several years. Next story is another Tennessee university making changes to comply with state DEI laws. University of Tennessee at Chattanooga is the latest state university to bring departments in their organization into alignment with new state laws outlawing diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. UTC leadership met this week to talk about how the university will make changes in order to comply with legislation that the Tennessee General Assembly passed earlier this year. During a board meeting on Tuesday, Chancellor Lori Bruce said that no action will be taken immediately, but instead all departments and offices are to be evaluated in order to confirm that they are in compliance with laws, both at the state and federal level. According to University of Tennessee System President Randy Boyd, this review will be conducted by an independent law firm and will include all campus access and engagement programs on all system campuses. UTC Vice Chancellor Artanya Wesley, I like that name, Artanya. I like that. Wesley has confirmed that the multicultural office will be getting a makeover and that the student body has been made aware that changes are coming. Sounds like a pretty good improvement there. Next, we have resolutions against National Guard fail in Memphis City Council and Shelby County Commission. Both the Memphis City Council and Shelby County Commission voted on resolutions against the upcoming National Guard deployment, but all failed despite support from local Democrat leaders and liberal residents. Councilmember Jerry Green, who is also a Democrat candidate for governor, authored and presented the resolution to the council during their September 23rd meeting, which ultimately failed in a 4-4 vote with 2 abstentions. The resolution's text urged Governor Lee to reject President Trump's proposal to send National Guard troops to Memphis and would have authorized the council attorney to take whatever legal action is necessary to oppose the occupation of the National Guard in Memphis. As it was only a resolution and not binding legislation, council members acknowledged that it could not have stopped the deployment, but that their intent was to allow them to file a lawsuit if they deemed the Guard acted unconstitutionally once in the area. Addressing the council in favor of the resolution, you had Democrat State Representative Justin J. Pearson claiming poverty was the problem in Memphis and money was the preferred solution. Vice Chairman of the Shelby County Republican Party, Luke, Symbol? Is that how you say the name? It's spelled cool. Critiqued the Democrats for grandstanding, saying he didn't care if the resolution passed because it held no weight in the law and would have made no difference, I'm assuming, is what the rest of that sentiment was. During a tense Monday night meeting, the Shelby County Commission debated 2 resolutions against the Guard. One resolution proposed the Guard not be deployed to the city at all, while the second created a set of parameters for the deployment, including restricting troops to support roles, limiting their access to public facilities, and capping the deployment at 90 days. Both proposals ultimately failed with narrow margins after over an hour of heated debate between the commissioners themselves and members of the public. There's been a lot of discourse surrounding this decision to deploy National Guard troops to Memphis. I don't live in Memphis, so I don't know what that experience is going to be like, or, what really the temperature is on resident opinion, I guess. We'll put it that way. I guess I wouldn't be super thrilled if they were deploying National Guard members to where I live, but also there's not high crime rates where I live. So, I did see several clips of local Memphis residents saying that they were hoping that it would actually make a difference because, the high crime is impacting their daily lives and they want to feel more secure, and so they're hoping that it will actually help. But then there's, of course, people mainly left-leaning, but I'm sure some who aren't, who are all up in arms about it and are like, you can't just send troops and this isn't a military state or whatever. And so I guess I would just be interested to hear your opinions, the opinions of our readers in the comments below, if you have one of substance on the issue, because I think the general sentiment amongst Republicans tends to be, or at least conservative Republicans, tends to be that this is a good thing as long as it's done constitutionally. So I don't know. It's just interesting. It's just interesting. Maybe it'll help. Maybe it won't. Guess we'll find out.
I'm Brandon Lewis with the 10Con Big 7. We are the state's largest and only conservative news alternative that cannot be bought, cannot be bullied. So if you'd like us to continue the work that we do that's so unique in Tennessee, go to TennesseeConservativeNews.com/support or send your support to P.O. Box 625, Signal Mountain, Tennessee 37377.
Next story is TikTok algorithm to be overseen in U.S. by Nashville-based tech giant preventing countrywide ban. This weekend, President Donald J. Trump's White House announced a new deal concerning the social media platform TikTok, U.S. security, and the licensing of its algorithm. According to President Trump, the deal will prevent a countrywide ban on the app unless it is sold by its Chinese parent company, ByteDance. As part of this deal, TikTok's algorithm will be copied and retrained by U.S. user data. Nashville-based tech company Oracle, which only recently moved its world headquarters to Nashville from Austin, Texas, may soon be one of several entities in charge of U.S. security and oversight of TikTok under the Trump administration. Oracle would license TikTok's algorithm in a joint deal where the company would conduct audits of the algorithm, reviewing, monitoring, and securing U.S. data accessible through the social media platform. According to reports, these plans for oversight include Oracle, a California-based investment firm called Silver Lake Partners, as well as the CEO of Dell Technologies, Michael Dell, and Chairman Emeritus of both Fox Corporation and News Corp, Rupert Murdoch. Lots of interesting names on this episode. A senior White House official previously confirmed that the Trump administration will not have a stake in the joint venture or be a part of its board. Regulatory approval is still required, and China still has to sign off on the deal, but President Trump is expected to issue an executive order sometime this week declaring that the deal does meet security concerns outlined by the law. Okay, and then this is the one I told you guys would be slightly amusing. It's not really slightly amusing, but it is slightly amusing that anybody would even how do you... Missouri woman sentenced to more than 4 years in prison for attempting to sell Graceland. How do you decide to do this? Guys, how do you wake up and this had to have been either a shower thought or you're almost asleep and you just jolt awake and you're like, oh my gosh, yes, this is it. This is the solution to my life. I have figured it out. Because I don't know how else you come up with this idea. You have to be either in the shower or half asleep to think, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sell this huge property, this big name property that I have no connection to or ability to really sell. How do you decide to sell something that is very clearly not yours? I don't understand. On such a huge scale. Anyways, a Missouri woman was sentenced to more than 4 years in federal prison after creating a fake company and forging documents in an attempt to fraudulently sell Elvis Presley's former home, Graceland. Yeah, there you go. 4 years. 54-year-old Lisa Janine Finley was sentenced in a Memphis federal court to 4 years and 9 months in jail, plus another 3 years of probation. In February, Finley pleaded guilty to mail fraud charges. An additional charge of aggravated identity theft was dropped as part of a plea agreement. According to her prosecutors, Finley claimed that Presley's daughter, Lisa Marie, had borrowed $3.8 million from her fake lending company prior to her death in January 2023, using Graceland as collateral for that loan. Finley threatened the family that she would sell the home if she did not receive a settlement of $2.85 million. Throughout the course of the scheme, Finley allegedly posed as 3 different individuals who were involved in various parts of the process. She also produced faked legal documents and ran a false foreclosure notice in a Memphis newspaper announcing an auction of Graceland to be held in May 2024. That auction was stopped by a judge after Presley's granddaughter, Riley filed a lawsuit. Presley's granddaughter inherited the home and Promenade Trust, which has control over the museum after her mother died. Kimberly Philbrick, the notary who is listed on the fraudulent documents, says she never had any dealings with Lisa Marie Presley. After investigation, it was determined that Finley falsified the entire thing. Again, how do you even decide to do this? Okay. Guys, I think where I'm at, I might be getting more rain here in a second because it just got real dark all of a sudden in the time frame that I've been talking. But it's okay. I think we can make it through our last couple of stories. Don't worry. I won't leave you hanging. Next we have, this isn't a military occupation. Tennessee senator says defunding police likely led to Memphis crime crisis and National Guard deployment. Oh wait, hold on guys. I lied. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry if you were expecting more. This is the last story of the day. But yeah, so here's more about the National Guard deployment. From Memphis Senator Brent Taylor, a Republican. He says defunding local law enforcement likely contributed to worsened crime in the area. On Tuesday night, Taylor directly called Shelby County Mayor Lee Harris out for this decision on conservative host Todd Starnes' Newsmax show. Taylor wrote on X later that evening, I confronted Shelby County Mayor Lee Harris by highlighting that his decision to defund the Shelby County Sheriff's Office through salary restrictions likely contributed to our need for National Guard support. The disconnect from Democrats on Memphis's crime crisis is striking. They demand more resources but oppose assistance when the Trump administration delivers aid from multiple agencies to tackle our crime challenge. On the Tuesday night broadcast, both Senator Taylor and Mayor Harris joined Todd Starnes for a discussion about the recent National Guard deployment to Memphis. If you guys pull that up and actually check it out, it's fairly entertaining because I wrote this article, so I watched the interview, and whether you agree with the tactics, whether you agree with the tactics or not, Senator Taylor is by far, I feel like, one of the most entertaining Tennessee lawmakers to watch in an interview. So if you are looking for some entertainment, I would look up the Todd Starnes segment that has both of these men on it. Let's see here. And to Mayor Harris's credit, he took it all quite well and handled himself quite well considering the differential between the two men. But let's see here. Where was I? Oh, the Shelby County mayor expanded on his previous claim that the National Guard deployment was anti-American, saying that he didn't believe the action was constitutional. Harris said, "It's not consistent with my view of that democratic tradition to have armored vehicles in an American city, checkpoints, folks with semi-automatic weapons, and military fatigues marching around. That feels anti-American to me." However, Taylor argues that his constituents aren't as worried about the military presence as they are about high crime in the place they call home. Taylor responded, "What's more concerning to me than the National Guard having automatic or semi-automatic weapons are the criminals who are actually on the streets with semi-automatic and automatic weapons. That's what concerns me, and quite frankly, with all due respect to my friend Mayor Harris, perhaps the National Guard wouldn't have had to be here if Mayor Harris hadn't defunded the police." Taylor concluded, "I think the way to view this is that the National Guard is coming in to protect the rights of Memphians. This isn't a military occupation, this is an investment." But yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. I feel like that was a pretty good lineup, considering we are in kind of our yearly lull of interesting news. But luckily, there's been a few national issues that have been keeping us going here, i.e. the National Guard deployment here. But if you want the full and complete rundown on any of or all of our Big 7 stories of the week, check out the links in the description below or head straight over to TennesseeConservativeNews.com. If you like what we're doing and you want us to keep it up, please consider donating to support the cause. All you have to do is, again, go to TennesseeConservativeNews.com and hit that orange support button. I mean, you already typed it in. You're already out there, right? Might as well do it. While you're on our website, you should also hit that yellow subscribe button to subscribe to our free weekday newsletter. That way you get a nice little email every weekday that fills you in on our big news stories of the week. So by the time you get here, you've already read the big stuff, and you can just go straight to the comment section and be like, "Dude, I've already analyzed this. I already know exactly what you're talking about, and this is my opinion." And you can have a conversation with people because you're not hearing this for the first time. How awesome would that be? Do you like my wind chimes back there? They're a little higher up, but you can see them a little bit. I love wind chimes. Anyways, where was I? Oh, don't forget to check out the Tennessee Conservatives podcast on your favorite platform. Because guess what you can do on a podcast platform? Okay, whatever podcast platform usually that you use, you can leave a review. And so it would be cool if you left us a 5-star review because it helps our reach and it gets other people to listen to our podcast and get their news, get their state news from a conservative perspective. As always, your listenership is appreciated, your readership is appreciated, and we will be back soon with another Big 7. Thank you, guys!